President Trump and his MAGA acolytes are escalating their attacks on American universities, and they are trying to make an example out of Harvard. Today, Department of Homeland Security demanded that the university's records of foreign students, and they demanded to see them, and then they threatened to revoke Harvard's ability to host those very students. The House Oversight Committee launched an investigation into the university, and in a very disturbing example of the executive branch influence over taxation, the Internal Revenue Service is making plans to rescind Harvard's tax-exempt status on orders from the president himself, as stop work orders are now rolling in for Harvard's researchers after a $2.2 billion pause in federal funds. And this is all because the university refused demands to make sweeping changes to its policies, which included requirements to audit the viewpoints of the student body, faculty, and staff. This is just the tip of the spear, folks. Semaphore was first to report the next phase of the administration's pressure campaign on universities, which will include putting their endowments under a microscope. Back with me is Janae Nelson, President and Director Counsel of the Legal Defense Fund. Janae, first of all, kudos to Harvard for standing up, because so many large organizations, schools, and law firms have bent the knee and acquiesced in this moment. I want to play for you what Caroline Leavitt had to say about this very issue on Harvard from the White House press briefing.
All the president is asking, don't break federal law, and then you can have your federal funding. I think the president is also begging a good question. More than $2 billion out the door to Harvard when they have a more than $50 billion endowment. Why are the American taxpayers subsidizing a university that has billions of dollars in the bank already? And we certainly should not be funding a place where such grave anti-Semitism exists.
Janae, my read from it is what the president is doing and the White House is attempting to do is illegal. Is this all not illegal?
It's absolutely illegal. And I want to be really, really clear. To shroud this as some sort of protection against anti-Semitism is actually offensive. The Legal Defense Fund stands firmly against anti-Semitism, against Islamophobia, against violence for any students and intimidation. That's very clear. That's not what this is about. And many Jewish groups have made it very clear that they do not want their names used as an excuse to break the law, as we see here. This is one of our nation's most revered educational institutions as part of the American university system, which is, revered around the world. And what this administration is attempting to do is to break one of the biggest universities, one of the most renowned, in order to make every other university and institution heel to this administration. And the ultimate goal is to make it so that there cannot be a diversity of viewpoints, there won't be a diversity of students, there won't be unfettered freedom of speech and expression on university campuses, because he doesn't like some of the ideas that are being taught in universities across the country. Because he doesn't like it doesn't mean that it is unlawful and that he can weaponize the government's power to try to harm universities that he doesn't get along with or that he doesn't like. And so I'm very, very proud of Harvard for standing up against these attempts to abuse authority even further. And they are not alone. Stanford and Yale and other universities have stood with Harvard. And it's what we're also seeing in the legal profession. This is just the same playbook that he tried with certain law firms who did capitulate, and then others who are backing up and saying, we are not going to be bullied by this administration. That's why the Legal Defense Fund was so proud to file an amicus brief in support of the law firms that are standing up and standing back, because we suffered similar consequences when we were fighting for civil rights in the 60s, when we were trying to end legal apartheid in this country. The reason that we can sit here today in an integrated society is because we stood up to the offensive tactics from states and governments that tried to make us back down. And so we're urging every institution in this country not to back down to this administration, because we know what we're doing is right. We know what universities are doing is right. And we know that to back up a bully, you've got to look them dead in the eye and say, I'm not turning back.
Honestly, if you give a bully your lunch money on Monday, they're coming back Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then next Monday again to get it. There are people that I think have been emboldened by the fact that there are institutions pushing back against the president and the White House. U.S. universities faculty unite to defend academic freedom after Trump's attacks. Indiana University is leading the push for a pact among 18 institutions as Trump targets diversity. And then you have Northwestern University. In February of 2025, Northwestern's library's website removed DEI mentions as the university responded to that executive order from Donald Trump. And then on April 10th, Donald Trump's administration froze $1.8 billion for Northwestern as well as Cornell. They say, on one hand, they say this is about anti-Semitism. I agree. I think this is them using anti-Semitism as a cloak for their very nefarious activities, and it is offensive. And if they really want to stand up to anti-Semitism, I think maybe they should check on the governor of Pennsylvania that also happens to be Jewish that had a bomb, like a firebomb thrown through his house the other night. Yeah. Might want to check on that.